In the race for the White House, the presidential frontrunners won big in the Big Apple. New Yorkers overwhelmingly voted for businessman turned Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. As soon as the polls closed in the Empire State, the primary was called in Trump's favor. Well, so far, he's won 89 delegates, while his closest rival in the race, Ted Cruz, has won 0. Meanwhile, Joan Kasich picked up 3. On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton is a projected winner. So far, she's picked up 129 delegates, with Bernie Sanders trailing behind at 98.
We started this race not far from here on Roosevelt Island, pledging to build on the progressive tradition that's done so much for America, from Franklin Roosevelt to Barack Obama. And tonight, little less than a year later, the race for the Democratic nomination is in the home stretch and victory is in sight.
We don't have much of a race anymore, based on what I'm seeing on television. Senator Cruz is just about mathematically eliminated. And we've won another state. As you know, we have won millions of more votes than Senator Cruz, millions and millions of more votes than Governor Kasich. We've won, and now, especially after tonight, close to 300 delegates more than Senator Cruz. We're really rocking. We expect we're going to have an amazing number of weeks, because these are places and they're in trouble. They're in big trouble.
Well, joining us now live from New York is TRT World's Kilmeny Duchardt. Kilmeny, let's start with the Democrats. It was expected that Hillary would win in New York, but it looks like it was a bit of a tight race for her.
It was, and you can bet, Malene, that celebrations are still happening now in the city that never sleeps, especially if you voted for Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. It was expected that the former Secretary of State would win by double digits, and she did, but I'm sure it was a little bit closer than the Clinton campaign would have liked. But it's safe to say that the actual voting process itself today was anything but smooth. In fact, in New York's primaries this year, you can only vote if you are a registered Democrat or Republican, but today many people couldn't, and that is why New York officials are now looking into why around 120,000 registered voters were completely missing from the system today, when a lot of them showed up at the polls. And in fact, it is a big problem and a big flaw that the Sanders campaign has called a disgrace.
It is absurd that in Brooklyn, New York, where I was born actually, tens of thousands of people, as I understand it, have been purged from the voting rolls. It's a little bit crazy that in upstate New York, they opened the polls at 12 noon. What happens to people who get up early in the morning and have to go to work?
Well, to add to that, there were complaints that voting machines were broken, people couldn't properly cast their ballots, and there were certainly delays in the actual polls opening. And hundreds of complaints rolled into the city today, and many are saying that that could have made a little bit of a difference.
Okay, Kilmeny, let's take a look at the Republicans. Donald Trump coasting to victory. Is this the push that he needs now to win the party's nomination?
Well, it did give him a big push, and a big push that he wanted, and it certainly gave him a lot of the confidence he needs moving forward. Going into this race, he needed around 500 delegates to clinch the party's nomination. He still has quite a way to go, but this is definitely going to help him. And now he's saying that he's so far off into the distance, his rivals don't stand a chance. And certainly the numbers are not on Texas Senator Ted Cruz's side. In fact, if you look at the numbers, he would need to win virtually all of the delegates left in the remaining contest to carry on in this race. But of course, he and Ohio Governor John Kasich are crossing their fingers for a contested convention.
Okay, Kilmeny, good to speak to you. Kilmeny Duchardt there for us live in New York.